Hypocrisy.
What's up, guys? Welcome to Law Splaining the Interwebs. I am your host, Nick Ricada of Ricada Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. How's it going tonight, chat? With me, again, is my very good friend, Mr. Ty Beard, a Santa Beard tonight.
Santa, yes. I'm very festive. I've also, you can't see it on the screen, but I've got my Slytherin sweater on.
Oh, yes. I think I have the Ravenclaw one.
Yeah. Virtually nobody was surprised that I sorted out as Slytherin.
Yeah. I don't even know. Like, I know that they're evil. That's all I know.
They're not evil. They're just
yeah.
ambitious.
That's what evil people say.
They're just ambitious, Nick. They're not evil.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give that one. No, I saw that Draco Malfoy kid, and I was like, oh, it looks like if Macaulay Culkin were possessed by Satan.
Yeah, and join the SS.
And we will do it. No, we're not. We're gonna follow that up.
That's right.
Anyway, how you been? How's life, Ty?
Doing well. We had a great Christmas here about Beard Manor. My daughters and their husbands have stayed with us, even though they only live 3 or 4 miles away. We've had a vacation in place, you might say. It's been basically eating way too much food, watching movies, and of course the definition of a Christmas movie around my household gets increasingly stretched thin. Yesterday we watched The Shining.
Now, see, that's a good Christmas movie.
Yeah.
I forgot that's a Christmas movie.
There's snow. We actually watched the sequel.
There's gifts.
Yeah, we watched the sequel, Dr. Sleep, which we saw the director's cut. I actually thought was a pretty good movie. It was a very affectionate sequel to the Kubrick movie, which is interesting because the novel is a sequel to Stephen King's novel. He got real ticked at Kubrick.
Yeah, he was not happy with that rendition.
Which I don't understand. I mean, The Shining is a great movie. And the stuff he changed, I frankly didn't think he changed all that much. I mean,
I don't know how you end up mad at The Shining, the movie. The movie's fantastic.
No, it's iconic. It's obsessively made. Well, if you like The Shining, watch Dr. Sleep because it's a very, very faithful sequel to the Shining movie. And it's got Ewan McGregor, and he's a top caliber actor.
Yeah, he's good. He's good. The only time he's not good is in episode 3 of Star Wars.
Yeah, any of those really. I mean,
I just really hated when what's her face? Amidala is about in the fucking ramp opens when he's about to go fight Anakin. And he's just standing there with his pelvis out and this weird pose. It's like, why? Now, when you're directing this scene, why is that what you come up with? That is not at all appealing. It just doesn't work for me.
Lucas wasn't a particularly competent director.
Were those Lucas? He did the prequels,
yeah,
right?
He directed the prequels. I mean, I think he technically had a shill director, but he was calling all the shots. And,
right.
And who knew that the prequels would actually be good by some comparisons later on.
Yeah. I'd see the funny thing is of the prequels, I like the one that people like the least. The second one, I thought that was the best one of the prequels. I like that one.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, in my opinion, the prequels should have begun with a third movie because I just don't care about Anakin's childhood.
Yeah, kind of pointless.
Couldn't care at all really about it. But McGregor is a good actor, generally speaking, and he did a great job in Dr. Sleep. And we watched the animated Batman and the Joker Christmas episode in the animated Batman series today. So at least that was vaguely Christmas related.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like I think the episode's called Joker Christmas or Christmas with the Joker or something like that.
Sure.
I had never watched the
Give
animated
it.
series. I had always heard how cool it was, and it was. I got to admit, I was very impressed. I'll go. I think I'm going to go and watch them all.
Well, there you go. I don't watch anything anymore. No time. We did a different one. We'll talk about it in a minute. We do it because part of what the show topic is. Let me do that. Let me intro the show because that was just your intro, and it was immediately about Ewan McGregor, which is weird.
Yeah, well,
it's okay. But you're well, I should say again to people who maybe haven't seen you in a while, you have lost a significant amount of weight, and you're about Ewan McGregor's size right now. Looking trim, man.
Yeah, thank you.
Congrats on
feel
that.
good.
I mean, that's the whole thing, right? Like you start losing weight out of like vanity or whatever, and then you end up losing weight and getting down because you just feel better. Like,
yeah. Well, I have lots of health problems in my paternal bloodline, especially that are weight related. And I kind of decided it was about time to do something about that. I wasn't large as a teenager at all. I was a welterweight. That was my weight class in fighting when I was in high school. So, but as I told one of my son-in-laws, you stop growing vertically and you start growing horizontally, and you want to pay attention to that.
It accelerates dramatically around that 40 number too. Like for me, I noticed everything just started going straight to my gut. And I was like, that isn't right. Doesn't go anywhere else. Why is that? But yeah, it's always, it's nice though. Cause other than the past couple days, because I hurt my knee a little bit, but other than the past couple days though, my knees feel so much better after losing some weight, and so it's just amazing, like the transition that does. But here we are talking again tonight, guys. The show. Ty and I usually traditionally do a show around Christmas time. This time it was split into two. We did one a little bit before Christmas Eve, and then we're doing this one a little bit after Christmas. I think other years we've done it like right on Christmas Eve, or something. Is that right? I think so.
Yeah, normally we do Christmas Eve, but we missed it. We actually missed it last year. There was a lot going on. And then this year we couldn't get connected up either. So,
Right.
Hence,
we try to do a festive show right around Christmas Eve. This time it's kind of split between these two shows that we're doing. But we like to take a little bit of time and talk about the importance of, family, faith, tradition, kind of from the perspective of fathers at a little bit different phases, and also good friends, of course. And we're going to talk about that a little bit, and the kind of the traditions that we do, why they're important, what that means and instills, and all of that fun stuff. And then we'll also, probably talk about a couple other subjects. One I was bringing up to Ty right before the show that we may get to cover is this thing called Calendar Gate, of which Ty has zero knowledge. So that'll be fun to talk about. I haven't talked about it yet. Some people have asked me to. It's an interesting meltdown, man. I don't know. I don't understand people anymore. But that's going to happen probably later in the show. But first we're going to hit that sort of Christmas feel and good cheer. We'll talk about Christmas movies. Maybe we could bring up Yellow Flash's Christmas movie tier list, which I thought was not great. Not great.
Sure. Well, we publish a Beard Family Christmas movie canon every year. I put it up on Facebook, and and there's the permanent canon, which are certain movies that we watch every year, and then we have the this year movies. We have the obligatory Sean Connery movie, the obligatory Coen Brothers movie, etc.
How many movies do you watch on Christmas?
Oh man, well, not necessarily on, but around Christmas. I don't know about. Golly, I think the last list was like 15 movies long or something. It was a lot.
How has anyone ever had time to watch 15 movies in any reasonable span of days?
Well, we started celebrating Christmas, because both of my daughters work for me. I was able to let them off work.
Yeah, I guess that helps.
At the end of last weekend, and we've closed our office down for this week, so everybody's got this week off.
Right. Still, I mean, you can close everything in my lifetime. I still don't have time for 15 movies.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's a goal.
It's like the only movies I watch now, and the past several Sundays I haven't been able to, are typically on Twitch. We do Twitch watch parties, and I get some good movies in there, but that's like at home. I just do not have the time to do that.
Well, tonight or before the show, we finished Hunt for Red October, which is of course a very well-known Christmas movie.
Great Christmas movie. Yep.
A white bearded man from the north brings a present to the world. If only we will believe.
Yeah, it's true. Right there. Nailed it.
Yeah, exactly. We haven't watched Die Hard yet. We have agreed that what we do is we just kind of run movies in the background. Whoever's around watching,
Sure. Okay, that makes a little more sense.
There's 6 of us, so it's kind of, well, it's me and my wife, my 2 daughters, and their husbands. So,
and you have the advantage that all of them can watch like any rating of movie at this point.
Yeah,
so you don't have to like not watch Die Hard because there's like a 3-year-old running around.
Right. Yeah. No, that's true. And we've all agreed that Die Hard we'll all watch as a family, and we just hadn't gotten organized it well enough. Well, Die Hard and Red October were the 2 must watch family movies. So I guess we'll watch Die Hard tomorrow.
Die Hard's a controversial one because there was the big push to call it a Christmas movie, and then there's like now a big resistance against it. They're like, just because it has Christmas in it doesn't mean it's a Christmas movie. It's like, wait, what? But
it ends with "Let it snow, let it snow, let it snow."
Right. Yeah.
Well, my family did the Die Hard as a Christmas movie thing actually some years before it became a big thing, because we would go after my mother passed away. We started vacationing over Christmas because I didn't want to stay here, after that event, and we would just watch movies. That's what we did, and so we were watching Die Hard way back in 2016, and so, but
I'm always a fan.
It became, the big thing.
What do you like? Do you like Die Hard 2?
It's okay. I really, the other Die Hard movies are kind of meh for me. I remember when Die Hard came out.
What about 3? The 3's really good.
3's, yeah, no, it is. It is.
Okay.
It doesn't. It's not iconic like the original. Because you got to remember, is Bruce Willis was not an action hero,
right,
before Die Hard. Die Hard was sort of, he played this kind of quasi romantic lead in Moonlighting. On TV.
Yeah. I remember. I've seen that movie. God, I don't remember it.
You just didn't think of Bruce Willis as an action hero, tough guy kind of thing. And
right.
Along comes Die Hard. It's like, holy crap. And of course, that was Alan Rickman's breakout role too, which, oh my God.
Yeah, he was great. He's dead now. Bruce is about to be.
Yeah. Isn't Bruce suffering from dementia?
Aphasia, I think, is the technical term, but God. Yeah, it's in the same category. These little fucking flies. Anyway, it's been so warm. It's been so warm here in Minnesota that like it'll get cold and the bugs will like go into hibernation and die, and then it'll warm up and they'll just be around. And they're these little like minuscule fruit flies that show up, and they'll like be gone for a week, and then all of a sudden there's just one, and you're like, who's ever heard of one fly? Like, how is this a thing? And it's so weird. But I think it's because my kids have this place where they eat downstairs, not too far from my office, and they will throw food away in the garbage can, but never take the trash out. And so I think that's where they like have set up apartments, like low rent housing or whatever.
Oh man, I threw away those kind of things. I told you I got a 3D printer, and it's a resin printer, and of course it's like having a toxic waste dump in your house. And I cleaned out the alcohol bath where you wash the things before you cure them, and I had and it had resin gunk in the bottom suspended, so I let it settle, got all the clean alcohol out, and then dumped the rest and dumped it in our trash can. Yeah, I don't do that. I heard about that for a week from Mrs. Beard. She was not happy. And I got to admit, when I would go out to my truck in the mornings, I'd be like, oh. Finally, I think I left the trash can out in the sunlight. and the
Yeah.
resin cured and
You have to,
stopped
yep,
smelling.
you have to do something.
Yeah.
Speaking of resin, not really, I don't know, weird transition. Let's Go Brandon has dropped a couple chats. Very generous gentleman.
Okay.
Kind of got me in trouble last night. Thanks, Let's Go. I blame you, my friend. He paid me to drink. It was things got a little look, Ty. Actually, I don't even remember what happened there. If I don't remember, it didn't happen.
So horrible that you blocked it out.
Nope. I was so drunk that I blocked it out.
Well, yeah, I can do it too.
But he sent a very generous super chat today, and he says the drinking will continue until chat morale improves. Oh, buddy. And then he sent another one, says the chat and I cobbled this together to buy you a festive drink of whiskey. Oh, wait, they're all poor. Here's to health, wealth, and prosperity. Thank you, my friend. I'm going to have, my hangover actually didn't start when I woke up. My hangover didn't kick in until around 5 p.m. And then all of a sudden I was like, whoa, that was not good. So that was fun. I didn't have anything to do today, so it didn't really matter, but it wasn't, it was not ideal. But I will honor the super chat with one drink. Thank you, sir. But that's all for tonight. And with that, we're going to go with Bowman Brothers, Virginia Straight Bourbon Whiskey, small batch. This is a good bottle. How am I feeling? I feel fine now. But around 5 o'clock, I was not feeling great. And then, I got some after dinner and I took a little nap. Things got a lot better. So
Wet
cheers.
Socks, buddy.
Wet socks is the weirdest thing I've ever heard anybody say.
I know, but I'm just telling you it works. I have no idea why. I'm not a biologist.
Anyway, cheers. Let's go. Thank you very much for your generosity.
Thank you. Let's go.
But that's the end of it for tonight.
The problem with the wet sock strategy is it requires a fair amount of remembering and effort and everything. And when you're drunk off your ass, it's, there are some practical issues with that. But if you can remember to do it, the easiest thing to do is put the socks on and run the water in the bathtub.
See, but but you missed it though. I woke up not hungover. That's what I'm saying. It hit like I had a midday hangover.
Delayed hangover?
It was weird, man. Because I woke up, I felt fine.
Yeah.
I was like, oh.
Were you still drunk?
No, that's the weird. Like I woke up. I slept several hours. It wasn't like a short night, but it wasn't super long. Woke up, I felt good. Started going through the day. Like I said, everything was pretty much here. Like I was just doing some cleaning and shit around the house. And all of a sudden, like 5 o'clock rolls in. I was like, I had the sour stomach, big headache hit. And I was like, oh, wow. Damn it. How did that even happen? It was weird. But so I couldn't, what was I going to do? Wear wet socks all day? That's disgusting.
Well, yeah.
Some kind of swamp monster tie?
Yeah, I don't tell you about that one. By the way, if you hear the occasional woof, that's Beowulf, my daughter's Labrador. He's in our kitchen, in our kitchen bathroom, and he's not a happy camper about it.
Yeah.
He's ridiculously spoiled. He's like, burr.
Kimbo Knight says, I think Nick is fibbing. Was there a drink in your hand when you woke up? No, I probably would have felt better. Like the hair of the dog thing is actually kind of works. I don't usually get hangovers, so I usually don't do that.
I'm never brave enough to try the hair of the dog strategy.
The other day we were out and actually over the course of the night, I didn't have that many drinks, maybe like 4 total over the course of several hours. Maybe it was 5, but it was several hours. We were out with friends and woke up and went to breakfast with said friends. And I did do the Bloody Mary in the morning because that's kind of just good. But I didn't feel that bad. It was mostly just because like, well, you're out. I guess you have a Bloody Mary sometimes. But I never, like at home, I never have a morning drink. I don't do that because there's no purpose to me to wake up and have a drink at home. Like I typically only drink on the show or socially. I don't drink alone. Although I think drinking on the show is drinking alone in its own, like in a philosophical way, right?
Interesting point. Well, no, you are socializing though. albeit not.
Kimbo says so you did have a
face-to-face.
drink. No, not today. I did. That's the only drink I had today, Kimbo. That's what I was saying. The other day, like a couple weeks ago, something like that. We were out. We stayed at a hotel, and so then in the morning, I got a Bloody Mary with the breakfast buffet. It was great. But yeah, no, like at home, I don't wake up and drink. There's no reason to wake up and drink.
Yeah, you're talking about Bloody Marys. I remember when I was in college, we used to drink spicy hot V8 juice in the mornings.
Yeah,
It's pretty effective hangover.
I love spicy hot V8. It's good
I mean,
stuff.
well, it was salty and it was, it rehydrates you. And
Yeah.
the spicy hot seemed to work a lot better than the regular. The regular just tasted like tomato soup to me. But
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the regular V8, but the spicy hot, it's like drinking blended up paste salsa. It's pretty good. Uh-oh. Here, I'll respond to this one more chat, and then I'll stop. I'll stop listening to the chat. Kyron now says
look into the chat.
He says ADD Nick at it tonight. Lol, no one call him an alcoholic or we'll get a 40-minute rant. No, like actually today, unironically, today was one of the first days I was like, that was a lot. That was really a lot of liquor. I shouldn't have done that. And I normally don't feel bad, but today I felt pretty bad. And one of my friends does something that I'm actually going to try out. My friend Cecil, he does a month. It's early in the year. It's either January or February where he doesn't drink. And so I'm gonna do the sober January because it's like the New Year's resolution, right?
Yeah.
And we'll try that out and we'll see how the shows go and stuff like that. But yeah, I did not have fun. After last night, it was like, bleh.
You may notice that the older you get, that Hank Williams Jr. is correct, and the hangovers do hurt more than they used to.
But see, I barely drank in college. And then I didn't drink almost at all until law school, which everybody around you drinks in law school. So you go out and drink with them. And it was funny. I was like, these guys drink so damn much. I go out with my friends. I had to drive home 2 hours. So I'd only ever have one, right? At the bar. So I'd have one drink at the bar. And then my friends would sit down and pound 8 beers down in the time I have one drink. I'm like, Jesus Christ. How do you guys do that? And then that's it. And then after, when I was a lawyer, I was like, oh, well, now I got to drink all the time because it's depressing. Dealing with people all the time.
Yeah, I think I actually drank less in law school than I did in college. What I remember of college was there was a lot of drinking.
It's an interesting balancing act. Addiction in general is very strange for me. I don't really get physically addicted to stuff. Like I don't feel any compelling need to have, there's a bunch of addictive stuff I've been prescribed and stuff like that over the years. So I think the only remaining prescription I have my allergy medication, which is injectable, and there's no fun thing about that. But the only quote unquote addictive thing I have is the modafinil, which is for my narcolepsy, Provigil. It's non-narcotics. It's technically not addictive physically. There's no physical withdrawal symptoms except like a headache, I guess. But you also get a headache when you start taking it. But I almost never take it at all because I've organized my life so I don't need to be typically awake on a traditional schedule. And so my narcolepsy doesn't affect me in the same way. Am I awake for my show is a big question. So the main times you'll see me on modafinil is if I'm doing like a trial stream or something like that, then I will take them because it's like a whole day that I have to be awake starting really early, which is way off schedule. And you can't fall asleep during a stream of a trial. And some of those trials are fucking boring 99% of the time.
Well, yeah. There's a lot of just shuffling paper and fiddling around, and yeah. Right. When court TV first came out in the late 80s, and I remember watching, it was before I went to law school, and I was like, wow, this isn't anything like on television.
No, it's really slow and plotting. So sitting there and watching court stuff with narcolepsy during the day when you're off a sleep schedule, I mean, it's very easy to conk out. So I'll sometimes, not every show, but if the trial goes a long time, I'll start taking Provigil later to help get through shows as the sleep schedule gets more and more, sort of sporadic. But I typically don't take it though, because it's fun, Ty.
Right.
It's fun. It makes you feel good. Like, it makes your brain work really well, makes you feel really good, makes you feel like you can conquer and solve problems. And I go, well, that sounds like something I like. And if I like taking a pill, I don't want to take it.
No.
So that's my main thing with alcohol. Someone said it has physical symptoms, whether you want it to or not. Yeah, I know alcohol is a physically addictive substance. I don't ever crave the need for it, but I like drinking. It's fun. And so I'm always kind of on guard for that stuff. And, I've kind of been deciding lately that maybe not so much, because it hasn't ever actually affected like my ability to do anything. And but that's only because of the schedule I keep and have worked out for myself. So, but with the show last night, I was like, damn, that was a lot.
Well, it's
a lot of liquor. Yeah. So a nice little reassessment. We'll do a sober January, and the chat will have to hold me to it. And not really. I mean, I don't know what you guys could do about it at all, but we'll do that, and then see where it goes. Maybe it turns into a sober February or further. I don't know. But we're gonna check it out. I'm always hesitant to do drastic shit on the show itself and make big changes, because people like consistency and stuff like that. But last night's show wasn't super consistent. I liked a lot of it, and then I stopped liking later in the show, and it's like, oh, you're really kind of tossed, like pretty far.
Well, sometimes it sneaks up on you. At least it does with me. If I'm having a good time and I'm slamming it back and not paying attention, all of a sudden I'm like, holy crap, I'm drunk. I mean. Yeah.
So the whiskey I was drinking is this Elijah Craig barrel proof Ty. It's 62% alcohol. So like you have your normal amount of drinks, but so if you have 4 drinks normally, and then you have 4 of this, it's actually 6, base of kind of a normal proof liquor. And that the thing is, it hits you really fast, really hard when it does. And by then it's too late. There's nothing you can do. It's good stuff. It actually
This is really good stuff.
No, I did the whiskey review of it.
But it was good.
I did the whiskey review of it, and it wasn't that great. It's so my favorite whiskey is this Kentucky Owl Last Batch Rye, and it's a high alcohol content rye, but it's really smooth. It's really good, but wherever it hits your mouth, it kind of tingles. It lights up the sensations in your mouth, which is awesome. Really like a nice whiskey. Tastes good, goes down easy. I won't say that joke. It goes down easy and all that stuff. This one, when it sits on your tongue, it literally burns. Like, my tongue hurt today. It was raw from the burning. And I was like, this is weird. It wasn't the greatest whiskey. It's not bad, but it's a little, like, that's a strong one, a little too harsh. So, but it is what it is. You live, you learn, you move on. That was
Right.
not the most fun night, but or day or whatever. But
Well,
it
as
was,
long as you learn from the experience, Nick, that's what's important.
I've never promised to learn. I promise
But it could
to
happen
learning and do
accidentally.
better.
But it could accidentally happen. I mean,
Joshua Nofsky says lawyer math. Well, if you have a 40% alcohol by volume liquor, and then you have a 60% alcohol by volume liquor, then you have 50% more alcohol. So it's 1.5 drinks per drink. Anyway, we won't belabor that one. Again, let's go, Brandon. Thank you for always being a great sport and super fun in contributing. Frankie Sherratt says, hey, Ricado, longtime viewer. How does one advertise with you? Well, Frankie, you have to just send me an email or contact me on any platform. Instagram's a really good one to get a hold of me. Email, I try to watch, but email's depressing because emails become like the U.S. Postal Service, but with more trash somehow that you can't get away from, Ty.
Oh, did I tell you? I spent a whole work day cleaning out my inbox and unsubscribing and kill filing, blocking junk email and everything. And I got control of my email back for about 1.5 years. I couldn't reliably get email. All the clients were, of course, all my clients know to copy my assistant anyway, but it got to the point where email was functionally useless for me.
That's how it is for me. And I look at going through and unsubscribing and everything, because I've done the game, right? I've done the unsubscribe game. And then you find out that half the shit you unsubscribe from didn't unsubscribe you, or it subscribed you to other stuff. You're
Right,
like,
right.
the hell is this?
No,
like, I don't.
you have to. It's a blended strategy. I
Gotta block.
unsubscribed to everything, and then I blocked everything.
Yep.
And that way, and now that it's back to a manageable thing, I'm very diligent about doing that. When somebody new pops up with an email, block. I mean,
yeah, I need to go through, and I've done it a couple times, and every time I do it, it's like more shit just creeps in there. It's like, come on. And I hate looking at email because of that. But that's Frankie, that's email is one way. I would recommend trying to contact me on Instagram or Twitter. Those are fine. I think you have to pay for the check mark on Twitter, but Instagram is usually a good way to get a hold of me. Just let me know that you asked about advertising on the show. Happy to oblige. By the way, speaking of happy to oblige, welcome to Good Logic and his audience. Welcome. Thank you for rating. My good friend Joe over there.
Hey,
Joe in New Jersey, just being a great dude, good streamer. Guys, if you want to have a good show, go check out Good Logic. He's always been a solid dude and a great friend.
Totally agree.
So and I hope to do some really cool stuff with him this coming year, which definitely involves whips. Low Watermark says, "Oh, the spicy hot V8 makes a great Bloody Mary." Dude, so I got introduced to. Now that we're talking about liquor, let's just go ahead and do it. I got introduced to the Bourbon Bloody. The Bourbon Bloody. It's a Bloody Mary with bourbon instead of vodka. And I have to say, it's way better. It's way better. Yeah.
Those aren't two flavors I would normally associate.
The Bourbon Bloody is delicious. You put like a Woodford in there or something like that. It's a fantastic combo. So
I was never a Bloody Mary fan, particularly. It's not that I disliked it. It's just that if I'm going to drink vodka, I normally just drink screwdrivers.
Yeah.
But I would think that Bloody Marys would help keep you hydrated better, and keep your electrolytes better.
I have who drinks Bloody Marys like when you're drinking? Like you just drink Bloody Marys in the morning with
the brunch. Well, it's such an old school. It's like a martini, right? It's like those are drinks you watch Cary Grant, drink.
It's I don't know. They are good for that. Like again, if you're on a trip or something and you're doing like you're out with friends and you're doing the whole like we're drinking the whole time type thing, you want to keep that level. They're really nice in the morning. They're delicious, but I don't like mixing drinks because you have to make them.
Yeah,
it's too much work.
Yeah. So, just easier to drink it straight or with a little water, right?
No water, just straight.
No water. Yeah, real men wouldn't adulterate.
No, I don't ever criticize people and how they like to have their drink. I just don't. Yeah. I don't like to do the water thing. I've never found that it actually opens up the flavors like they say, or it changes anything. It's just like, well, this is just annoying. Now it's something else I have to do. I don't want to do that. Very lazy. But yeah. So anyway, thank you, Low Watermark, and also Let's Go. Brandon sent one more chat. He says, "Hey, I was just playing my role. No speaking English. Blame Ty's beard. Of course, brother. You're doing fantastic." One more here from Rumble Stormcrow 900. Oh, I don't want to give him too much credit. For Ty, best thing my buddy and I came up with for dumping our dirty resin alcohol is away from the house, behind the shed, where we don't want weeds to grow.
I got some spaces like that in my backyard now that you mention it. That might be the best place.
Yeah. It's always good to find that one place. See, the previous property we had and this property, the last one was 7.75 acres. This one's 8. So there's plenty of spaces where you can do that. Yeah. And the fun thing about those, like any larger property that's been around a while, is if you walk through them, you will find where the previous owner dumped like a refrigerator or like a tractor. And then if you can open it, you can find a hooker in them usually.
I don't notice it as much now. And I guess it's just because, littering has become like a national sin. I mean, but in the 70s and even into the 80s, when I would go visit my relatives out in the country, I mean, people just dumped stuff in those days. There'd be a ditch by the road, and there'd be refrigerators and sofas and, you know, furniture you couldn't easily identify.
Yeah.
In fact, behind my grandparents' house, you know, they lived in a house that had been built like in the 1890s, and back behind the barn, down the hill, was a giant pile. Man, it must have been 3 feet high of bottles, just empty bottles from the last century. I mean, if you're a bottle collector, that was probably a treasure trove. But we kids were told to stay away from that area, which of course meant we went down there at every opportunity.
Yep.
But you know, blue colored bottles, you know, the old style blue shaded bottles, a lot of those, and just, you know, patent medicine bottles and all kinds of stuff. You know,
What are the blue colored bottles?
Yeah, yeah.
What were they about?
Well, it was medicines.
Oh, wait. So this is like the shitty glass that they had to use when like things got when glass got expensive to make for a while.
I don't know. Maybe the blue was there to keep whatever was in the bottle from reacting harshly with the sunlight. Blue and not exactly brown, but smoky. Those were the two predominant color bottles I remember. Not a lot of clear bottles now that I'm thinking about it. And it was, you know, it was medicines of various kinds of stuff. But I mean, you know, over a century, well, yeah, I guess so, about 80 or 90 years, you know, it turned into a giant pile. And I guess, you know, you had to do something with those bottles. They were too small to really use for anything around the house.
Sure.
Remember when I was a kid, I think it was Ronco had a kit you could order where you would cut Coke bottles and you'd cut bottles and make glasses out of them.
Right. Yeah.
Drinking glasses.
I've seen those things. Those bottle cutting kits were cool.
Yeah. Never had one, but I always wanted one. You know? It's
funny what the kids used to entertain themselves with. It's like, here, cut glass. So
yeah.
Why would you give this to a kid ever? Like, this is a terrible plan.
Yeah.
No, it's fun for the whole family.
Everything was fun for the whole family.
Just use them in the bathtub, like your toaster.
I never had a Popeil's pocket fisherman either, but I wanted one. You know, and what was the
Ron Popeil, the pocket fisherman?
Yeah. It was a little, I don't know, it was probably about a foot long, and it was like a complete rod and reel kit thing, and it was very, very.
When you have spontaneous fishing to do, you just keep it in your pocket, like just in case. Like, wow, I found a lake.
I saw it enough that I remember it even into my dotage. And then there was that hand cranked food processor thing, and it slices, it dices, and it makes julienne fries.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like the stuff they sold on like the TV sales stuff is always odd to me. Like I never wanted it, but the new version of that is just Instagram ads. Yeah. And I buy so much stuff from Instagram ads side, it's embarrassing. Like I'll be like, ooh,
that is embarrassing.
That sounds good. That sounds good. That sounds good. No, a lot of it's really great. Like that's the weird thing. Like the stuff that I end up buying through the Instagram ads is actually stuff that I like and is pretty good quality.
Yeah. You know, Ron Popeil, the guy that did, you know, Ronco, he wound up marrying this like Fredericks of Hollywood model. I mean, she was about a third of his age, gorgeous, you know, and he spent like his, you know, last decade or two of his life, you know. He lived the life that his ads implied.
Surrounded by cheap, drunk, and women. Back when they put hot women on TV intentionally.
Yes. Yeah.
With that, let me read this last super chat. Then we'll talk about tradition. And I'll start it off with a transition from that last statement of mine.
Okay.
That will probably make you mad. Megman Chronicles says, "Hey Nick, it's my birthday. Back again for another toast and to enjoy another round of drunken lawyer rantings. Stay classy, brother." Well, you're gonna get sober lawyer rantings tonight, but a cheers to you, brother. Gaining an extra year, teching one off on the old heart. Your heart rate, your standard heart rate has now dropped by 1 point, which brings you 1 point per minute closer to death. So cheers to you on that one, but actually enjoy it, because as your heart slows down, life speeds up and you get to reach equilibrium right before you die. With that, my friend, enjoy getting older. I actually do.
Yeah. Okay.
What was that look, Ty? You don't want to reach equilibrium before you die with your heart and time?
Sounds like too much trouble.
Well, you're gonna.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, you're going to reach equilibrium with the room temperature too at some point. So,
well, yeah, of course. But no, seriously, man, happy birthday. Enjoy getting older. A lot of people shit on it. I like it.
It beats the alternative.
That's true. Yeah, you could be dead right now for the low price of one Ron Popeil slice-o-matic or whatever. I don't know what it was called.
Yeah. No, there was the Bassomatic, which was Dan Aykroyd's thing on Saturday Night Live, which is one of the classic.
How much cocaine do you think those TV salesmen take? Because that's what was that name? Bobby, the guy who's the OxyClean guy.
Billy Mays.
Yeah. Billy Mays here with OxyClean, right? Like that guy, when he died, they're like, it's just cocaine. That's all that's in his blood. That's all it is.
He's literally pumping. Yeah.
What do we do about that?
I know during the 70s, good grief. I think everybody on television was on something hard. It's probably a very intense lifestyle. You gotta do these commercials.
They always have to be high energy too.
Yeah, you do. And of course, like Billy Mays, he was hawking stuff, late night on QVC and all that kind of stuff. I mean, yeah, that's
Billy Mays isn't dead. Billy Mays is very dead.
Pretty sure he is, isn't he?
Yeah, he's super died.
Yeah.
And again, I'm pretty sure it was a huge amount of cocaine in his blood when he died. So just gonna suggest that. I used to watch that show that he did with the Australian guy, and they're like, they would pick the next thing that would get advertised. It was like a reality show for people to get onto like a Billy Mays ad. And it was pretty cool. And yeah, he died
on TV kind of.
Yeah, it was like a reality show to get onto. They would hook them up with like they would get the product down to like $20 a unit. That was always the key. You had to get it down to this like $20 a unit price, no matter how much it costs you. And they're like, but I'll compromise quality. And they're like, but you're gonna sell millions. Like,
yeah.
But it was a good show. I really liked that. And then he died while they were making that. So it was Anthony Sullivan, I think is the other guy's name, or Andy Sullivan, one of those two. I never saw him anywhere other than that show, but apparently he sold, I think he sold that mop that you wring out. It had a little ringer on it.
He was all over late night TV back, infomercials and stuff. Do they still do infomercials? I mean, do people even watch television anymore? I don't.
I would assume they do. The only time I ever watched television, I go over to my in-laws' place, and they'll have usually like a Lifetime or HGTV running. Or like my allergy clinic's office. I always have to wait like 10 minutes in the lobby. And so I'll sit there and watch HGTV there. It's always HGTV everywhere you go. It's like very safe. But all of the ads now are just pharmaceutical ads. So it's just like a woman walking through a field of sunflowers, and it's like a list of all the negative shit that can happen to you. And you're like, but what is this even for? Like, what did you just advertise? You advertised a list of ailments that I will get from taking your products. They're really better be good. Like, I don't know what that is. And it's usually like I don't know. There's a lot of like Viagra style ads that come out on the Lifetime channel, which is, I mean, maybe that's a commentary, right? Yeah, like if you and your wife are watching this.
Somebody in the chat is referring to slap chop.
Yeah, the slap chop it's one of those things you and it'll like dice up an onion.
Oh, okay.
Really brutally.
That's a painting technique nowadays for miniatures too. I was kind of trying to make the connection.
Slap chop?
Yeah, it's a technique we were using in the 80s, which we called stain painting. You use thin down paint and put it over white primer, and you get one coat, you get a nice, you get a highlight. And
he froze.
And very attractive models quickly.
You froze, and then you're doing this max headroom thing. Okay, it's catching up. Maybe only to me, though.
Bueller.
Yeah, I got you. I hear you.
Okay.
For just a minute, you went quiet, and then you caught back up, but you're doing like this. It was awesome. But I don't know if that went through to the audience because StreamYard's weird. What I see from the guests isn't always what the audience gets because it depends on if it's coming to me or wherever. It doesn't matter.
Vegematic. I think Undead Ramen is right. I think it was Vegematic. I think that was the name of it.
Yeah, you'd put like it had a crank and it had like this spiral cutter. Yeah, you shove like a cucumber or whatever in there and it would shred the thing up.
And it would slice and it would dice and it would even make julienne fries.
Yeah, I remember that thing now.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't never had one of those.
The salad shooter, yeah, remember those. Yeah.
Yeah. Music and Fiction says, Nick and Ty, good evening. Nick, you're looking for the Dial-O-Matic, slices, dices, juliennes, and more. Remember with Slap Chop, you'll love my nuts. Best infomercial line ever. Oh yeah, because you could the Slap Chop, you could chop up pecans and shit for cookies. The Slap Chop, a lot of people had that. I think Pampered Chef sold a version of the Slap Chop, so it ended up being actually like all over the place. I never liked them though. They brutally cut vegetables with a piece of sheet metal. You don't get like you can bruise certain foods that you cut if you cut them with a blunt object, and it doesn't make nice stuff.
But does everyone remember the Ginsu knives?
Yeah, I do.
You know.
Yeah, I always wanted them until I realized how garbage they were.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Let's so what I talked about when they used to put attractive women on TV. Ty, we're talking about tradition tonight. And one of the most important parts of tradition is a woman called Vanna White.
Oh, yes.
You remember Vanna White? She's still alive.
All men of a certain age remember Vanna White, yes.
And Vanna White has she has had an interesting career because her career became progressively so easy that she's effectively useless. She's 100% not necessary for the show. She used to have to walk up and turn the things around with the letters on them, right?
Right.
And then eventually
electronic.
Yeah, she eventually had to walk up and touch a little button and do it. And then now she goes up and like touches at them, but she doesn't need to. It's a guy and he's just pressing the buttons on a light board.
I think it was all about her walking.
Yeah.
As I recall.
The whole point of Vanna White was to have eye candy, but like at first you needed a physical person to go do this stuff. Now you don't actually need anyone, right? Like you just need, I guess, a Pat Sajak, but he's not going to be there. So now it's Ryan Seacrest he either has taken over or he will on the next season. And then Vanna White is going to be gone for part of it. And Ty, did you see who they're replacing her with?
You cut out there for a second. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I got you. What I'd said was, so Pat Sajak was the host of Wheel of Fortune. He's no longer going to be host. Instead, it's going to be Ryan Seacrest who will take over. And for a while, Vanna White will not be part of the show, but I think she is coming back. But she's been replaced by someone. Have you seen who this person is?
Oh, boy. No, I haven't.
All right. Where is she? Oh, she's suggesting Maggie Sajak should replace her permanently, but her temporary... Oh, there she is. Temporary replacement is... Hold on, we gotta get to it. Where the hell? Put her back on the screen, bigots. Very racist. Oh, I'm trying to get to it. This is stupid. Here we go. Her name is Bridget Donald Blue. So here you are, Ty. It's gonna be dark. That's but I'll press play once we get it up there. There we go. Here. This is Bridget Donald Blue, 2023 California Teacher of the Year. Will be has replaced Vanna White. There we go. Look at that.
Why?
See? It's perfect. It's exactly why. Look at that. It's just exactly what you want from your. Like, here we go. Watch this again.
Do we?
Hold on. Yep, there she is. Perfect. Okay. Yeah. Smack right in the middle of that. Like, will you stop putting your fingerprints on the letters?
Yeah.
Ty, it's about tradition. And that's my transition into our show topic.
Well,
it's about tradition, Ty. Why is tradition important? It's Christmas time. Lots of traditions.
I think personally that this attempt to change human nature by fiat is going to fail miserably. I'm sorry. It's been a it's been a fact of advertising for 200 years. People like to buy things from attractive people. There's even a
Yeah.
section in Adam Smith's The Wealth of Nations that talks about why attractive uh, celebrities make more money than normal people. I mean, this is not anything new.
Yeah.
And this woman may have a lot of great qualities. I don't know her, but visually, I think I'd rather see Vanna White. Although, gosh, Vanna must be what, in her 70s by now?
She's 10,000 years old. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
sure
I
she's
mean,
sustained on like Botox and, corn chips or
yeah.
something, but
Of course, Fitz, probably looks great for a 70-year-old though.
I would assume so. I don't know. I stopped watching all TV, so I don't watch game shows, including Wheel of Fortune. I like Wheel of Fortune, but what am I going to do? Sit around watching it?
I was a big fan when I was young of Match Game because that was a fun. If you ever get a chance to watch some old reruns of Match Game, it's pretty good because
What
it
was
was.
Match Game?
You had six celebrities, three by three. Richard Dawson was always on the show. He was very popular, but the host was a guy named Gene Rayburn, and he looked awfully seedy. Um, and what it was is, he would say, you know, he'd make a statement, there'd be a blank in it, and the
Right.
contestant would try to fill in the blank and match the six celebrities, and you got 1 point for each celebrity you match.
Oh, okay. Sure.
And the questions were or the statements were very, very often, right on the edge of what was allowable on television at that time.
There was a lot of that going around those early game shows. They would have
Mm-hmm.
like the dating game or whatever it's just raw innuendo constantly, like
Yeah,
embarrassing amounts, and it was funny.
yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like game shows had to be like about the game. It's like, well, can we just go back to when everybody's
Did you ever see the movie
cracking?
Quiz Show?
Yes.
Ray Fiennes in it as
Yeah.
what's his name? Ah, crap, it's lost. It's left me out. But it's about the original quiz show scandal in the
Right.
late 1950s. Very good movie. In intermediate history, the history isn't incredibly accurate, but it's good enough. But it's a very good movie.
Yeah, I've only seen it the one time. It's been years, but I did like that movie. It's great.
Yeah.
But now
Charles Van Doren. That's who Ray Fiennes played, and
sure.
got the other guy. Anyway, great movie. Just to get the feel of the quiz show. I mean, there's like oh my God, they gave them the questions on the quiz show.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
They did. A lot of it's for show.
Martin Scorsese plays the owner of the pharmaceutical company that was the main advertiser for that show, and at the end he's talking to the investigator that busted the story open. And he's like, the quiz shows will be back. He said, because the thing is, it really isn't about the clash of intellects or that kind of thing. People just want to watch the money. They'll just make the questions a lot easier and da 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 da. And sure enough,
Yeah, they like watching the numbers go up on people's.
Yeah,
Like, oh, I want them to win. It's like,
no one watches a game show for for great shows of intelligence or anything.
See, that's when I would go to my grandmother's house. She would always have Game Show Network on all the time.
Yeah.
And I'd sit down and watch these game shows, and you watch them, and it's like the people win like $1,200. And you're like, the hell is the point of this show? Why am I watching this person come and like they do the letter chain thing? It's like, and you won a whopping $3,265. Like, why is that the show? I want to see people win hundreds of thousands of dollars. I want to see them have like life-changing or at least like year-changing money come into that. I want them to have a tax dilemma afterwards. I do not want them to win like this. I mean, it's nice to get a couple grand, but like it's not. I feel like it's a lot of work for some of these shows to get nothing, or like effectively nothing for the trade-off.
What was it? Start out as the $5,000 pyramid, and the $10,000 pyramid, and the $50,000 pyramid.
Yeah,
because they kept just jacking up the. I mean, I don't know, but I would assume that with the TV revenue, if it's a nationally syndicated game show, you know, whatever money they give the contestants is almost an afterthought. I would
And it's
think.
expense, like it's
You know,
it's tax deductible for the company. Like it's just cost of business too.
yeah.
So it's weird. PL Demori Gray says, but Nick, a Ford Pinto cost $3K back then. No, I'm talking about there's shows out there right now, like current shows where the contestants win like $1,200, $1,500. And they're usually like these word association type shows or whatever. And you're like, this doesn't seem worth it. Like, I guess you get it on TV and that's fun, but
yeah, I'd agree with you on that. I used to like the Price is Right when I was a kid. Of course, during the time of hyperinflation, that was always fun. But I can remember somebody was saying, you know, I can remember when I would have been about 7 or 8 years old, so in the early 70s, mid 70s, cars were in the $3,000 to $4,000 range. You know.
Yeah, well, that's what that person was just saying. But I'm talking about shows in 2020 and 2021.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I agree with you. If I'm gonna spend 30 minutes of my life watching a game show, I want to see lots of zeros.
Yeah, exactly. Or I want to see someone like lose lots of zeros right at the end, like they're about to win it and then crash right into that wall, like Princess Diana.
Oh yeah, the Gong Show. If you ever get a chance to watch some old reruns of that show, now you talk about a degrading exercise.
All that stuff is, but they don't do any of that anymore. Now everything is like serious and polished, and they have to insert an agenda into everything. And it's like, why can't it just be fun? Can't someone just anyway? But this isn't about game shows. This is about tradition, Ty.
Right.
And Christmas is a time when you remember, like you're like, oh yeah, we do this tradition. Like we have these traditions that we do.
Pardon me.
And that's, yeah, bless you. But it's one thing I like about Christmas is that it does, it almost forces you into we do this thing every year. We have to do it. And then you do it and it's like, oh, that's valuable.
I love Christmas. I always have. I loved it when I was a kid because I had those textbook wonderful grandparents, you know, who just, you know, my mother's parents were just the most wonderful grandparents you could possibly ask for.
Mm-hmm.
And so we always spent Christmas with them, and, you know, it was a great memory. And then when we had our own kids, I love it. And I miss it when Christmas is over. You know, I kind of go through a little bit of clinical depression in January. In fact, we're going to trial on a big case mid-January. So
yeah, that's going to be fun.
Snap me out of the depression, if nothing else.
I just like it from, so what we do in our localized family here, just in our house, Christmas Eve is our kind of day where we do a Christmas Eve box with the kids. So we pick a very family friendly movie every year. And then Lady Raggets will typically buy everybody, including us sometimes, matching pajamas. And they usually go with like the movie if it's doable. It's not always doable because we don't always pick a current year movie. But if you pick a current year movie that's family friendly, sometimes you can get like matching pajamas. We go get a bunch of popcorn from the movie theater. We get a bunch of movie theater style candy, like the boxes that would cost $8 in a movie theater, but you get them from Walmart for like $1 or whatever. You get a bunch of those. The kids will sometimes get like a little toy or like a little stuffed animal from the movie as well. We'll load up this box and then the kids get to open it up and they get to see what movie it is before they find it. And then we watch the movie together. And it's a lot of fun. It really is. This year we did the tradition, but we had to break up the theme because we had several different motifs going and none of them coalesced into like one family movie night. So our kids got a bunch of Sonic toys and stuff like Sonic the Hedgehog.
Okay.
We were thinking about doing the Sonic movie, but then we didn't. And I'm glad we didn't because our kids had actually seen with the second one, our kids had actually seen it and we hadn't. I think they watched it with my parents. But they got a bunch of like Sonic the Hedgehog Lego sets. They did Sonic theme for Halloween. And so that kind of fit there. For the pajamas though, she and I like the Nightmare Before Christmas. And so we all had Nightmare Before Christmas pajamas. And the movie we picked was obviously going right between those was Wizard of Oz.
Okay.
But the kids had never seen Wizard of Oz. and some of them are in a production of it coming up. So they're acting in the stage show, and so they've been wanting to see the movie. I'm actually not the biggest fan of that movie. My mom used to always make me watch it, and I didn't ever want to.
I didn't like it until I was about 12 years old and started noticing that Judy Garland was actually a very nice looking lady.
And then you liked watching Wizard of Oz?
Well, yeah.
Kind of like before the internet was hard.
Yeah. Well,
it was tough back then.
It was back. Yeah. We didn't have the options.
I never liked it in general. My mom always liked it. So we had to watch it a lot. But this time I wasn't immediately annoyed while watching it. So I sat down and watched the beginning and noticed like all the little foreshadowing and stuff that they did, previewing these characters and setting up the allegory and stuff. And I was like, oh, this is actually really smart movie. Like,
did you ever see Wicked? The
Broadway play?
Yeah,
Wicked's great.
Yeah, we saw it on Broadway, and then they had a showing at the University, UT Austin, and we drove down to Austin to see it again. At the time, my daughters were both in theater, and they loved it, and it was.
Yeah, we've seen Wicked a couple times. The traveling Broadway show. It's very good. Yeah. Very, very good. We like it a lot. But our kids were asking about Elphaba and Glinda and all that stuff. And it's like, well, it's kind of like an alternative story timeline. So it doesn't really play into the movie as well. They haven't seen Wicked, so they don't know, like they just know about it.
Yeah.
But it's I like that. But yeah, just the writing on Wizard of Oz was really sharp. And it was surprising when I looked at it. I was like, oh yeah, they used to try when they made movies. But I did like that the Wicked Witch, just try and stop them from getting to the Emerald City, basically loads them all up with opium and tries to give them a fentanyl overdose on their way, on their shortcut. Did you catch that?
So it's been so long since I've seen it.
Poppy Field. It's like, wait, what? And then they're running and they're like, oh, I'm so sleepy. I just want to lay down and die. And then Glinda comes along and pours snow all over them. And I'm not sure if that's a really funny reference to overcome the opiate. And then they wake up and they're like 3 feet away from the fucking road. It's like, why didn't you just fall forward? You would have made it. But it was so weird. It's like, what is this?
We also watched It's a Wonderful Life, which is a great movie, by the way. Jimmy Stewart, I don't think Jimmy Stewart did badly in anything he ever did.
Yeah.
But that's a great movie too. And the writing is also very, very sharp, a lot sharp. You think of it as this iconic feel-good Christmas movie, but it's a little bit dark, there's some, and then of course, if you watch that, you should immediately go to YouTube and look up the lost ending from Saturday Night Live, where you got Dana Carvey playing Jimmy Stewart.
Oh,
they find out that Mr. Potter, in fact, stole the $8,000, and so they go with pitchforks and torches to his house to beat him up.
It's a Wonderful Life is a good one. It's a good movie. I don't like going back to the fallback. Like, these old movies were really thoughtful, because lots of old movies are just utter garbage, but there are some gems in there. And watching them and realizing you can find them in a lot of generations of movies, but finding the true gems where the writing is so sharp, the message is clear, every scene is turning, every scene is moving the plot along, and it's like, and the acting is just solid, which is tough to find.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of film noir, and so The Maltese Falcon is one of the sharpest, most crisp, old movies you can find. It's really just a sharp, well-made movie. Casablanca is really good. It's especially good if you try to remember it was made during World War II. So some of the scenes maybe don't have quite as much impact now, but if you think about it, the scene where Victor Laszlo has the band strike up La Marseillaise, and in there, that's a powerful scene. Now I can only imagine how powerful it was in 1943.
My favorite noir movie is Chinatown.
Yeah, yeah, neo noir, but yeah, very definitely that's a good
Yeah,
one.
neo. It's funny that it's neo noir, but it's like,
Neo noir, but it's 50 years ago now.
yeah.
Yeah, you
um,
know,
People are calling me out on something. It's still true. I have it on my trash tier Christmas movie list. It's a Wonderful Life is on the trash tier Christmas movie list.
yeah,
That's the one thing I agreed with Yellow Flash on. I hold to that. It's a good movie, but it's a trash tier Christmas movie because I don't ever want to watch it on Christmas. There you go. That's why.
yeah. Well, it's a. I don't know that it's a particularly. I'm trying to think. Is it really actually a Christmas movie? I mean, it takes place during the wintertime, but I
Yeah, I
don't
don't know
remember.
if it is. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, see, the
Is it?
thing is, it was one of those movies where they screwed the copyright up, so
Oh,
it fell into public domain right after it came out.
oh,
In fact,
gotcha.
there's a Cary Grant movie we watched it last night called Charade. That's the same way. They didn't put the notice on the film when they displayed it, and boom, you fell out of copyright. Just boom, you're public domain.
Right.
Um, so I think It's a Wonderful Life wound up getting played by TV stations over Christmas because it was free.
Ah, that makes it. That
You
makes
know,
sense.
but it is a good movie. By the way, you say you like Chinatown. Watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit and
Well,
tell me if
yeah.
it's not
Oh,
exactly the same plot.
oh man, I haven't watched Who Framed Roger Rabbit in a long time, but
Yeah, replace the
yeah, I
water
gotta watch both of
replace
those.
the water with freeways, and you've got you've got the plot of Chinatown.
Oh damn. Okay.
Well, you don't have the incest either, but I mean,
Dude, I love Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I have not watched it in a long time, but I watched that a ton as a kid.
I tell you, so The Shining was made, I guess, probably 5 years after Chinatown, 5 or 6 years after Chinatown, and I had forgotten just what a good actor Jack Nicholson was when in his younger days. I
Yeah, he
mean,
was great.
well, he could effortlessly coast between crazy and sane, and in the same scene almost. Almost, it was really amazing. Um, but
Mhm.
yeah, I would say Chinatown's a good one. Maltese Falcon is probably my favorite of the noir films. Double Indemnity is really good with Fred
Yeah.
McMurray.
Yep.
Well, because you're so used to seeing Fred McMurray as a good guy, right? My Three Sons and various funny movies and stuff, and to see him as a cynical world weary insurance guy, who gets wrapped up with the evil Barbara Stanwyck is a good one.
Um. Oh, Big Trouble in Little China. God, what a great movie.
the
Okay,
great the great Kurt Russell.
but I just love that like tradition. I don't know about you, but I get wrapped up in the hubbub of life a lot, and that's the thing about Christmas that it's like Thanksgiving is like the warm up lap, and then Christmas
Mhm.
forces you into these traditions because we've mixed it so thoroughly with well, I mean, I shouldn't say mixed it. We've taken the Christian holiday of Christmas. And yes, I know all of the people are going to say whatever about the day and the timing and all that stuff. That's kind of irrelevant because it
Yeah.
is now this Christian holiday. But then we've so thoroughly blended with American culturalism that it kind of affects everybody.
Mhm.
We used both of those influences to really bring Christmas into this place of tradition that hits a huge portion of the country, like disproportionately high to the demographic of either just like American values or Christian values or whatever. It hits so many people, even atheists and communists or whatever celebrate Christmas. And I love that it forces us back into this just for a moment. It's like, nope, stop from life for a bit and do these things for a couple days. Remember where you are. Because it does get us to spend time. Well, at least for me, it does get us to spend time with family in this very particular way. That is not so. We have this to do. We have this to do. We have this to do. It's great to do these things together if we can, but like we have to go through and do, dinner and the running around and all of the hubbub of normal life. But with Christmas, it's like, here you go. Sit down for a minute and enjoy it.
Mhm.
Spend some time. And I love the different traditions people come up with to do that.
Yeah,
For
I can remember as a kid, especially. I can remember the best Christmas presents I got every year when I was a kid. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's a special time of the year. And, you know, you and I are Christians and we understand the religious significance to our faith of that. But it's more than that. I mean, it's a secular holiday. It's a universal, almost, it's probably as close to a universal holiday as the world has.
Yeah.
You know, and
It's wild.
um, yeah, and the traditions of just hanging out with your family and stuff. Of course, I'm lucky. I get along with my family. You know,
Right.
that wasn't always the case when I was young. I had a pretty mean father, so hanging out with that guy at Christmas wasn't always a lot of fun, and and such. But against that is I had these wonderful grandparents that were you couldn't have created you couldn't have created a better set of grandparents than my maternal grandmother and grandfather.
Right.
Um, and right now I'm fortunate enough that my daughters live close and we're able to hang out and stuff. I'll treasure these memories for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, right? Is it's a cliche. You hear people say you're making memories, and it's but really that is what you're doing. And I'd encourage everybody, don't never pass up an opportunity to make good memories if you can, because that's what you'll remember in your old age. That's what you'll remember way on down there. Nobody ever lay on their deathbed and said, gee, I wish I had spent more time at the office, or
Right.
I wish I hadn't held my children as much, you know.
Yeah. It's
Um,
it is this time. One of my favorite memories that I have from when I was little is my parents and we would
Kai and
go.
Rennell, I'm talking about the civilized world, moron. What's wrong with you? God.
And the billion Muslims celebrate Christmas too. What are you talking about,
Yeah,
Kyan?
if they live in the West, which many of them do, they celebrate Christmas too.
They love to give each other vests and walk around
Yeah.
places.
Remember Saturday Night Live's Hanukkah Harry?
Oh, come on. Nope. But
Yeah, have some slacks.
my parents and I, when we lived in Houston, we used to go to this same restaurant every Christmas Eve. It was called China Co. And it was just your standard fare, like blend of Vietnamese and Chinese food that everybody likes, with all the normal, beef with broccoli and all that shit. And I don't know why, but like it was the only place open. That was the thing, because they were Chinese or whatever, and they couldn't spell Christmas because they don't have ours or something. And so we would go in there and we would just eat, like, fried rice and lo mein and shit every Christmas Eve. That was a tradition that we did. And like, I just love that. And actually this Christmas Eve, my kids had a we had the church service. That's what it was. We had our church service in the afternoon, and one of my sons was in it. He played violin at the beginning, with the band playing, Christmas. I don't want to say Christmas carols, because they're more, they're Christmas hymns, but playing them on violin with a couple other violinists. And so we were there and did that, and they did the traditional Christmas service, which was really nice. But then afterwards, we were all having this really nice time together, and we wanted to go out to eat. And of course, we ended up at a Chinese restaurant here in town. I was like, oh man, this takes me
It's turning
back.
into
I
the
love
ending of the
this.
Christmas story.
It was great. It was
Back to
great.
halls with boughs of Ari.
Yeah. And that's probably honestly why we did it, though. Right?
Yeah,
Like, that's
yeah,
probably why my parents would take us to the freaking Chinese restaurant, because of that. But it still, it warms my heart. It
yeah,
was
yeah.
really fun.
Yeah, I'm as I said, I love this. I love Christmas. I've never been much of a Christmas Grinch at all. I loved it, just um, and I remember, like I said, I remember so much of my childhood. I remember Christmas clearer than just about anything else. You know,
Hmm.
I actually put up on Facebook a few days ago, 1972, the best Christmas present I ever got for that year. And it was I happened to be looking through the Montgomery Ward 1972 Christmas catalog, and there it was. It was a GI combat set. Okay, it
Yeah.
had a plastic Tommy gun, a plastic 45, a holster and belt, a helmet, a backpack. A little pack on the belt thing. I mean, it was, and 1975, the best present I got was the Starfleet Technical Manual. Franz Joseph. This was sort of the first expanded universe publication ever done
Sure.
for science fiction. I mean, it was about a 3/4 of an inch thick, and it was filled with drawings and diagrams of Star Trek shit. I mean, blueprints, ships, uniforms, equipment, you name it. And never seen anything like that before. Today, it's still very impressive, even by today's standards. Especially when you realize that the guy drew all that stuff by hand and lettered it by hand. He was a draftsman, and that hand lettering, you have to look at it very, very closely, but it is hand lettered. It's like, wow,
That's cool.
Yeah, it really was. I've still got that book, actually.
I love though
I don't have
that
the combat set yet, unfortunately.
you have a real one now.
Yeah. I'm gonna get a real Tommy gun.
But it's just so it's interesting the impact that has. I mean, that it's like a book, right? Like, who cares? You have a million books, but that one stuck with you because of the import placed on it by Christmas itself and the what it brings to it. And with that, what I need to do, speaking of Christmas, we're going to read these super chats here on YouTube, and we'll pop over to Rumble. We'll close out the YouTube stream. So if you want to
say whatever we want on Rumble, right?
What was that?
We can say whatever we want on Rumble.
Yeah. Anything you want. I think. Well, you can't threaten to murder anyone.
Ah, well, damn it. Okay.
But you can threaten to murder everyone. No, I'm just kidding. No, but yeah, so we'll pop over there, guys. If you want to join us on Rumble, you can make the move now or make the move after the super chats. I don't care. But the link is in the description. It's also the pinned comment by Jay at Liebgott. So if you do join us there, that'll be great. If you don't, we'll catch you next time. Alice Martinez says, "Drink up, buddy. Happy holidays." We covered that earlier. And Alice Martinez says, "Happy hangover," and then has a smile with the clashy mugs. I don't drink beer, Alice. K to the Swiss, thank you for the donation. Xander's Rant says, "Ty, when are you going to get Nick or Vic to do audiobook for Brianna's book? Nick, you skipped my longer paid local chat last night. You became Sean last night." Yeah, I know. I was sinking down in my chair. Listen. Chris says, "I need to sue my dentist. How do I start? Quick tip."
Sue my dentist?
It depends on what you're suing him over.
Yeah.
Like, is it a billing issue? You need a certain type of lawyer. If it's a medical you need a medical malpractice lawyer. If it's a dental issue that like you had work done that was wrong or caused you harm, but you got to figure out what the issue is, and then talk to a torts attorney that specializes in that issue. They'll be happy to sue a dentist.
Yeah, assuming it's malpractice, just look up medical malpractice in your yellow pages. That you'll find billions of them.
Yeah, and if they, if you have any kind of case, they'll be happy to sue a dentist because dentists can pay.
We'll do this on Rumble, but don't let me forget. I have a request for UK lawyers. I have a United Kingdom legal question that I'd like to chew on with you. So
sounds good. Michilla says, "My nipples are hard." Good. Xander's Rant says, "Dr. Sleep feels like what a young Obi-Wan movie script should have been, including Ewan being on top of the stairs with an axe and a villain on the bottom."
Oh yeah. Now the call outs to The Shining are well done. Very very cool, and they spent a lot of effort recreating the Lookout Hotel. I mean, the final scene of the movie, the penultimate scene in the movie, takes place at the Lookout. So,
I wanted to see it, and I just never got around to it.
I didn't even know about it. It was one of those things where I was, we watched The Shining, and Brianna said, "Hey, we ought to watch this Dr. Sleep." And I went, "What's that?" And she said, "It's a sequel." And I had vaguely remembered that Stephen King had written the novel, but I didn't realize they'd made a movie. The Shining's a very good novel. It's one of his best stories, in my opinion.
I
just wish he wasn't such a d-bag.
It really does suck because I do like a lot of his books. Shut Up I Can Cook sent me a sticker that says "cool." Thanks. Kai Rennell says, "All commercials now are for eczema, psoriasis, and HIV." Yeah, actually, that's about right. It's wild. Kate C, aka Snake Plush Kitten, says Vanna White's function was to keep husbands from putting a gun in their mouths while forced to watch Wheel of Fortune by their wives.
No lies detected.
Oh, damn. Jake CB says, Ty, don't forget about The Third Man.
Oh yeah, that's a good one too. That one takes place, in Austria right after the war is over, and so I think it was filmed there. So everything's blown up, tore up. That's a very bleak movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Phoenix of Liberty says, why aren't you guys anarchists yet? Why do you still believe the initiation of violence is an acceptable method of organizing society?
What now?
I don't think those two questions are not automatically related. There is that's a false choice fallacy, my friend. Stray
Yeah.
says, Nick, please promote Wrongful Podcast, R.E. Zechariah Anderson's case with all the facts. So well done, created by our own Solomon approved, needs shared. So Wrongful Podcast, R.E. Zechariah Anderson, guys. I do Solomon reached out the other day, and we got to set up a show. I just have not been setting up a ton of shows with people in December because my December is actually a lot of the times I didn't know up until right before the show that I would be doing a show a lot of these nights, which is why the schedule has been starting later than 11 a lot of times. It's been a messy December because December is just really busy when you have 5 kids. So that's that. But with that, guys, we are going to pop over to Rumble. So I will see you there in just a moment if you choose to join us. If not, catch me tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be the last show of the week. My daughter has a birthday party on Friday night, and I have to be very present for that. I'm not going to abandon Lady Rackets to a bunch of kids running around for an overnight thing. So that's a mess. But so we won't have a show Friday night because of that, but we'll be back at least at the very latest next week. When is New Year's? Is that Monday? New Year's is well, it's overnight Sunday to Monday. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know if I have New Year's plans or not yet. People keep asking me and I'm like, well, I don't know. Maybe. But we'll continue talking about that over on Rumble. Kate C, aka Snake Plush Kitten, says, has Ty seen The Cheap Detective?
Yes, I have.
Oh.
Great movie, Peter Falk.
Well,
and it's sort of companion piece, Murder by Death.
Murder by Death. Wait, what?
Oh,
It's a weird title, but I like it.
Well, it's from a play actually, but yeah, it's got Peter Falk as Humphrey Bogart, and in both movies basically have. But in Murder by Death, you've got the world's greatest detectives, and they're all parodies. Right? So Sam Diamond instead of Sam Spade, that kind of thing, and they all show up at this recluse's house for a weekend, and basically the recluse wants to expose them all as phonies. And the recluse is played by Truman Capote, and it's ridiculously over the top. Peter Sellers plays Inspector Sidney Wang.
This is back when you were allowed to be like super racist and everything.
Well, I mean, obviously, it's yeah. But anyway, good stuff.
Well, there you go, guys. We are going to continue the show over on Rumble. There's a little stinger that's going to play for about 25 seconds, and we will be live on Rumble and off of YouTube after that. See you in just a moment. Peace.